So go in ready to have a calm discussion if you feel like that is the best way to handle it, but be ready to defend yourself if you do no harm but take no type of idea. Hello, this is Weird Corvid, and we're going to be reading a sun print for the dark moon or the new moon, however you like to classify that, during Pisces. So the first thing I am seeing here is sort of on the east side of the blob. Is it looks like a horn, like a trump, not like less like a trumpet, more just like one of those handheld horns. Is it possibly called a bugle? I'm not sure. But it's pointing downwards and to the east. But when I look at it a little bit closer, it almost looks like a hand that's holding a white handkerchief, and to me that sort of symbolizes like it makes me think of like waving a white flag. And then directly below that, and there's sort of like a clutter of shapes. And to me, right off the bat, it kind of reminds me of maybe a machine gun or like one of those like handheld bazooka things. But it's making me think more of like a Nerf gun bazooka. And then the thing is the west and the south, which in the last print were very busy, and in this print are very not busy at all. Most of the clutter is in the center to the east and then some up to the north, whereas the north in the last print was very empty. Also up in the north, kind of the northwest, I see this shape, and it sort of reminds me of brass knuckle. And if you know what those are, there's like the ring with like that you would use to punch somebody. There's like about 4 holes for your fingers to go through with a bar over top of the knuckles to protect your knuckles or to get into a fight with. So I'm seeing a lot of conflict here. The question is the conflict within yourself and then you're sort of pushing it out towards the material world? Or is it stuff coming in from the outside world, from the material world, that is then causing conflict for you? And as I'm looking at this, the hand that was holding the handkerchief also is now sort of looking like a chicken's head. And as much as like the idea of the chicken being scared, like yes, chickens can be very scared, or they're running around with their heads cut off. That because they can literally run around after their heads cut off because of the whole nervous system that they have going on. But also chickens can be pretty mean. Like there's conflict there too. So it, like chickens will as soon like in a flock, if one sees blood, then there's a possibility that the whole flock will then pick on that one chicken just because there's blood. And they'll end up killing that chicken sometimes. So they can be a little ruthless. And then there's the whole pecking order thing. And for whatever reason, the as I'm running through these ideas that go along with chickens, the pecking order one stands out to me. So there's some sort of conflict, I think, along the lines having something to do with a pecking order. So that to me is saying more that the conflict is coming from the outside, or the idea of the conflict. I don't know if it's you're having a conflict with somebody outside of you, or if there's ideas coming in from the outside, so you're learning something new that is you're having a conflict internally with, maybe some sort of cognitive dissonance. You definitely seem ready to fight. And now I'm seeing to the east, there's a shape coming in, and it to me it looks like a comet. And I know we're talking about a lot of conflict stuff, so Like, could it be a bomb? But it really does seem more like a comet, like the circle with the tail behind it. So something is going to make an impact. And if it's coming in, like you have a lot of stuff sort of clutter and falling down from the north, which I view as like the material world or the outside world. And the east is your mind. So the impact is definitely going to be of the mind. It's going to be impactful to your mind. But the question is something going to impact your mind and your thoughts, and it's going to be this big wow moment or this big oh shit moment? Or is whatever you're having conflict, that this idea that's coming in, is your mind then winning this? Is your mind's obliterating whatever cognitive dissonance you're having or whatever conflict you're having with these ideas? Or because the comet looking image is going towards the thing that looks like a Nerf gun. Is the comet going to sort of obliterate your self-defense mechanism? And then you can see everything for what it is, maybe slightly clearer. Even if that is the case, like with the brass knuckles and everything else, it still seems like you're gonna like you're gonna be ready to defend yourself. You're not gonna be like laying down for any other points of view. You might consider them more easily, that you don't have your as much of your self defense mechanisms up. But because there's also this hierarchy here, you still have to have a little bit of your defenses up. I don't know about you, but for me, a hierarchy, I don't like hierarchies. I think that somebody, if they have any sort of position of power, it should be earned, and it shouldn't just be earned once. It should be based on their expertise for that specific situation. So like if somebody's an engineer, and somebody's an artist, and you need to know how to build something, you probably would go to the engineer. They're the one that you would want to have approval over whatever project you're doing. Whereas if you're going to paint something or you want to make something visually appealing, then you would go to the artist over the engineer. And that's the person that you would want to have maybe validate what you're doing in that regard, if you're looking for someone to validate you at all. And that's the other side of hierarchy that I don't like, is that it implies that we're all looking for some validation from somebody higher up, when most of the time we don't need that. Yeah, a lot of us are raised to want that, but most of the time we don't need it. But if you're doing something that you're not used to doing and you're trying to learn it, then you might want that little bit of that guidance. So in that case, like that's the only instance which I think hierarchy, or a loose form of hierarchy, is sort of worthwhile. I know a lot of people say that hierarchy is needed to keep law and order, but you can do that in ways that is not hierarchy. It's just we're not used to them anymore. But there are lots of different ways of running societies that are not strictly hierarchical. And on a personal level, like in like personal relationships or families or spiritual places, I really don't like the idea of hierarchy. But that's my own opinion on this. I don't know how the hierarchy fits in, but we're kind of like with the chicken's head bringing in what seems like it might be relating to that pecking order. And I'm guessing because there's all this conflict around, there's some discussion over how that pecking order is supposed to go. Maybe you don't like how you've been put into a role and without your consent, or maybe you feel like people should listen to you and what you have to say, and this comet is coming in and saying, hey, wait, maybe you need to like slow down on that and actually look around and pay attention. Because when leaders try to just say, everybody follow me, you do what I say and that's it, they lose so much information and points of view from the people that are so-called following them. Like if they didn't take such a firm stance in that pecking order, and really give people a chance to shine, to show their worth, to show their knowledge, to show their skills, you get to where you want to go quicker. You get more of a robust society or family or whatever group it is that has this pecking order structure in it. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the conflict is. I do think the conflict is related to hierarchy or a pecking order. I'm not sure how this is going to go. There's going to be a big impact on your self-defense mechanisms around it, but I don't know what side of the fence you're on with this. So let's see what the cards have to say. Maybe they'll have a little bit more insight into this, or maybe there'll be something in the book that you connect with. So on the west side of the paper, we have past influences, and we have the Hearth from the Halloween Oracle deck, and we have card 23, Let the Emotions Flow, from the Messenger Oracle deck. For the Hearth card, it says happiness in our hearts and home. And this one, I think, usually talks about keeping the hearth fire going for loved ones that might be away or something along those lines. And if this is past influences, I don't know, I'm sort of getting maybe you had to step away from whatever this hierarchy pecking order was, but you still care about that group of people, and maybe there's some concern about coming back to them. I'm not sure about that. Let's see what the book has to say. Should the hearth card appear in your divination, you are being asked to look at your idea of what home and family is for you. Take the time to build up your love fire. They had love in quotation, and have it burning brightly. Make your relationships a priority. If there is a conflict within your home and family, it is time to take concrete steps to address the issue for good. If you or a member of your family is away from home due to travel or work, know that protection is being given. So yeah, I guess that goes along sort of with that. If the family can have a hierarchy to it. If there's issues in it, you need to address that, and there does seem to be some sort of conflict over the hierarchy, pecking order, whatever you want to call it, and maybe you've stepped aside, or someone else in your family or whatever this hierarchy is has stepped aside for a while and is now coming back. And so these issues that you may have had in the past have not gone anywhere, and they need to be dealt with now or in the past. Sort of interesting. I don't know if this whole scenario of leaving and coming back has happened in the past, or if they're coming back soon and the issues, the influences are from the past. Something along those lines. So for the card, let your emotions flow, it says, emotions flow like water. They can be joyous like a babbling brook, as deep and strong as a river. Give yourself permission to feel and experience them without judgment or blame. Do not try to deny them, for that can only lead to harm and dis-ease. They said dis/ease. Release them, let them flow, and go. Allow yourself to feel them and learn from them as you embrace them for what they are, a natural response to the moment that you exist in that will pass as the moment passes. So yeah, I mean, obviously the past influences of whatever this hierarchical pecking order group is, there's some unresolved issues that need to be resolved, some sort of conflict that needs to be resolved. It's not going anywhere until you do address it. And if there's usually when there are long-standing issues between two people or within a group, there are definitely emotions attached to that. Because the longer something sits around, the more you ruminate over it, the more you resent and all the rest of it. Whether it's you resent the other person, you resent yourself, whatever the case may be, there's emotions attached to it. So you need to air it out, or maybe it's going to just come to accumulation here, and it's going to come to a head, and you're going to have to, whether you want to air it out or not, it's going to happen. You need to let the emotions out, and preferably, or ideally, in a responsible way. You don't want to get physical with anyone, even though there's like brass knuckles and everything here. Ideally, you don't want to get physical with your emotions, unless it's in a fun way. But this is not looking like that. If you can, before this conflict happens, if you are able, and this is past influences, so maybe you have done this. Maybe you have on your own let the emotions out. Maybe you've been working on that. So maybe you can come to the table. It doesn't mean everybody that does come to the table whenever this comes to a pass is going to be in the same boat. They might be processing their emotions at that point. The more you process your emotions means the more in control and regulated you can be, even in the presence of their emotions. And I'm not saying to repress your emotions. That's not what this is about. It's about acknowledging them and letting them out, so they're not controlling you in the moment. You still express them, just they don't control you. And that could be this comet coming in to just like obliterate some of the self-defenses that could be possibly related to this past energy of letting your emotions flow. Maybe you didn't let your emotions flow in the past, and this is going to come out now, or you have worked on your emotions, so you're going to be able to process better in the moment when this all comes to a head. So on the east side of the paper, we have current or possible future influences, and we have the Brambrak Synchronicities card from the Halloween Oracle deck, as well as card 43, which is Stay Strong from the Messenger Oracle deck. When you pull the Brembrak card, it indicates a curiosity to know what is ahead, but it is important to balance that with the now. After all, we have the tools to change our future should we choose. The sweetest synergy of Brembrak is all the ingredients, including the object, are more complete and powerful together than they are individually. Should encourage you to seek your own sweet spot. So that's sort of interesting in the sort of current or future influences. It's saying that you're curious to know what's ahead, but it's more important to find that balance because knowing the future could change. It's about finding your balance now, see how that plays out, as opposed to working towards whatever you think that future is going to be. If you think it's set in stone what that future is going to be, then things might not come together the way you would want them to, or in a natural way. Whereas if you focus on the balance and things coming together now in a natural way, then hopefully your future influences will be more harmonious with however you balance things out now. Whereas they might not be as harmonious trying to get to that very rigid idea of what the future may or may not be. So maybe that means reorganizing your pecking order in your group, your family, whatever it is, in a way that you wouldn't expect. Or maybe just letting it go completely. Maybe people are finally at the point where they can just let it go and be on a more balanced, even foot with each other. Card 43, Stay Strong, from the Messenger Oracle deck, says, life will present you with many trials. Life will bring you times of joy, but also times of suffering. Like the weather, it can be unpredictable, harsh, and cruel, but you can endure all that comes. Know when to resist and know when to let go. Know that sometimes you will lose, but that loss can make you stronger at the core. Stay strong. With hope and faith, you can endure all. So the line that could have stood out for me with this is know when to resist and know when to let go. That to me sort of speaks to the sun print and having a lot of conflict and having that comet come in and sort of obliterating some of your self-defense mechanisms without getting rid of them all. Again, it's a balancing act, right? Knowing when to resist and knowing when to just walk away. If it is some sort of family dispute or interpersonal dispute with somebody or a group of people, and you do say your piece, you let the emotions flow, you say what you need to say in order to let go of those emotions, for them not to bother you anymore, for them not to hang on with you, and that group of people or one person, whatever it is, still can't see eye to eye with you. You need to say what you need to say in order for you to just let it go, in order for you to not hold on to it as strongly anymore, to not ruminate over it anymore. And then you just have to let them, like, you might have to walk away at that point with agreeing to disagree. And that might be where the not focusing on the end result of where you think the future should end up like. Because if you have that very rigid idea, you might not get there, or things might go kind of wonky, not balanced to get there. Whereas if you let things happen in a way that you might not expect, and it might seem devastating in the moment, maybe letting them sit with their own feelings on that while you move on, them doing whatever they need to do, may or may not allow them to come back to you at a later date, and then you can reestablish some sort of connection with them. I'm not sure if that's the way this is going, but that seems to be the way it's leading to, at least in my mind. If you're seeing or resonating with some other imagery in here or in the interpretation of the cards, please feel free to leave them comment down below and share what your thoughts are. I'm always open for that. Looking at the sun print again with what I originally thought was a horn, and then a possible handkerchief being wove, and then a chicken's head. It's sort of like whatever this pecking order is, whatever this group is that has this pecking order, maybe it's just one person that has a pecking order, it is sending a call out, and I'm assuming it's sending a call out to you. Or maybe you finally got to a point where you need to send a call out to somebody else to try and settle this, but it's conflict. And as I'm saying that, I'm seeing at the bottom of that clump of shapes something that sort of reminds me of a microphone. So there's definitely a throat chakra thing going on here. There's definitely something you need to resolve and say, and however that's received, you need to get it out, and then you can move on. And if they want to move forward with you, then let that happen in a very natural way. Do not force it. But maybe they just need time to themselves to process and work through their own crap, and then at a later date you guys could possibly revisit it. But I would warn, if that is the case, to not hold on to the idea of revisiting it. Just let the future be what it's going to be. Let tomorrow realize itself, and you do what you need to do for you, and trust that they are going to do what they need to do to heal. And it might not be how you would want them to heal, but that's not for you to decide. Just like it's not for them to decide how you heal and process all this. So on one hand, I'm sorry if conflict is going to be in your future. If you are somebody that this might be resonating with, I'm sorry. It sounds like a very not so fun time to start with, at least. But on the other hand, it looks like it really is a chance for you to let go, for you to say what you need to say and move on. Hopefully, at least if you find yourself entering into a conflict, that would be, if I were you, that would be the goal, is to just say whatever it is you feel you need to say in order to move on, no matter if they come with you or not. It doesn't mean you need to say it in a mean way, unless it was, like, I don't know what your situation is. Maybe you do need to say it in a mean way. Say it in a way that holds people accountable. If you need to, if you know you're heading into this, it seems like something that you might not know you're heading into. It might just kind of spring up on you. But if you know you're heading into a possible situation like this, you could try journaling, like you're writing a letter to them, and then when you write it out, you write everything out, every little tiny thought, and then you do a proofread of that, and highlight all the things that you absolutely like that are absolutely important. Like if you never said another word to this person, what are the, like, if you could only pick like 5 things or 10 things to say to them, like only the absolute most important things that you would need to say, highlight those things, what you would need to move on and just let go of the situation, and then maybe even refine those further after you've highlighted them. I don't know, however much you need, just get down to like the core thing. So you're not necessarily removing all the emotions from it, but if you have too much stuff to say to them, they might not clue in on the important pieces. They might not hear you. They're just going to get defensive. And quite frankly, if you just say the important pieces that you need to say to them, they still might not hear you. The best laid plans and all that might not turn out. But for you and your sake, for you to be able to say clearly and decisively what it is you need to say instead of everything around those things. You want to say the core of what you need to say clearly and decisively. So there's no room in your mind to think, oh, I should have said A, B, C, and D clearly, so they know your point has been gotten through to the best of your abilities. At that point, once you've said it clearly and decisively, and they still don't get it, there's really not much more you can do. At that point, like, it's in whatever you believe in's hands. It's in God's hands, it's in the universe's hands, it's in the creator's hands, whatever. You've done what you can do, and that's about it. But I think you also need, or unless you've already, like, the past influences of letting the emotions flow, that definitely needs to happen. If it hasn't already happened, it might have already happened. And I think that's sort of like where the comet coming in and blowing up the Nerf gun. The Nerf gun seems like it's a lot more about intimidation, about show, whereas the brass knuckles are kind of off to the side, and they're like they're there if you need them, but they're not there to necessarily, like, they're not there to intimidate, not the same way as a fake bazooka Nerf gun. So go in ready to have a calm discussion if you feel like that is the best way to handle it, but be ready to defend yourself if you do no harm but take no type of idea, and being able to let your emotions flow before this happens, or even being vulnerable in the moment and letting them see how much you have hurt through this might be the key piece they need to move on. And even if it isn't the key piece that they need to move on, maybe it's the key piece that you need to move on. You can be strong and vulnerable. In fact, the vulnerability is key to being strong. Otherwise, it's just a facade like the Nerf gun. Anyways, I think that's it. Hopefully you have what you need out of this conversation or conflict, and you're able to walk away with your head held high, or at least feel a little bit more at peace once the dust settles, hopefully. Anyways, hope you have a good new moon.